Hello and welcome to Crown Chat. If you are brand new, welcome. If you are back with us, welcome back. I'm Nichelle Miller, your host of Crown Chat and also your pure international elite Ms. Heartland USA. And I am so excited to share one of my amazing royal friends with you guys tonight. And tonight, y'all are in for a treat because she literally just got back to town, to the country, and she's jumping on with us. So I'm going to bring her on right now. There she is. Hello, Queen.
Hi.
How are you?
Exhausted.
Before I even intro you, where were you and why are you exhausted? What's going on?
So I was in Tanzania. I arrived home literally today this morning around 1:30 into my house. And I was with a group of living organ donors, supporters, medical professionals, anybody in the community that really was interested in learning more about what living organ donation is about. And there was a group of about 30 of us that were hiking Mount Kilimanjaro. And so we summited on March 9th, which was World Kidney Day. And I donated my left kidney, which is what my platform is all about. So I can't wait to share that. But yeah, that is why I am so tired right now. And I look like death. And I have no nails, half on, half off, no makeup, and bags under my eyes. But this is what a queen does. We just show up and we rock it. And I'm definitely a queen that puts in the work. So I may not always be glammed up, but I'm definitely putting in my duties where I can.
I love it. I love it. And this is what this show is about, is showing people the woman behind the crown. So I'll go ahead and introduce you now, Mrs. Lindsay Gutierrez, Mrs. American Elegance 2022-2023. And you were crowned late last year. So right at the end of 2022. Okay. So tell us about, before we even get into your platform, tell us about American Elegance, what areas you competed in, how that process was.
Yeah, American Elegance is such an incredible system. I really love the uniqueness of it, specifically in some of the areas of competition. So there's the traditional interview and your evening gown, fun fashion. But what really sets it apart is the personal expression. And that gives you 2 minutes to talk to the judges about anything that you want. It can be a song, a dance, it can be a poem, whatever it is that you feel passionate about. You're allowed the 2 minutes or less to present that to the judges. 2.5 minutes is usually the time frame. I think again, excuse me, my mind is kind of in a blur right now. I'm trying to just get back to regular life, but I want to say it's up to 2.5 minutes that you have to present your whatever it is you want to present to the judges. So I actually created a book of my organ donation journey and presented it to the judges to show how I became a living organ donor. And then, of course, that was one of my onstage questions, was about being an organ donor. And so those are the phases of competition that the judges look at. And there's a panel of 6 judges total. And so it's a really cool experience because I've never had an opportunity like American Elegance to really show that side of community service and who I am. A lot of it is focused on some of the outer areas of competition that people kind of presume are those stereotypes of a pageant. And American Elegance takes it to a whole nother level and really wants to see the heart and the mind of the woman competing.
I love that. And I love that it's so different because it's not the physical. I mean, you're beautiful, but it's not just that, it's the woman within. So I love that. And you touched a little bit on it. So tell us about your platform.
Yes, my platform is called Donate Life, my journey as a member of the One Bean Club. And so kidneys kind of look like beans. And so that's what I currently have. I just have one bean. I donated my left kidney last May 25th to another veteran. We were involved in a chain donation. My blood type is O positive, and so I was compatible with really anybody who needed a kidney. And so it just so happened that the gentleman that I was paired with originally was not the recipient, but we were cross-matched. So imagine I was paired with somebody else, but yet there was another part of our donation where another donor stepped in and was able to donate to that veteran as well, to a different veteran. And so as it turned out, the recipient of my kidney, his wife donated to the other veteran that I was originally paired with because she was a match to him. And so there were 4 people that were involved, and it was one of the first chain donations in the VA's history, Department of Veteran Affairs history. And it was just the fact that it took place over Memorial Day weekend, and we were all connected in this really special way, just amplified that even more. And so it's a really touching situation to talk about for me. I don't even know what words. I mean, people ask me about it all the time, and I'm like, I don't even know what words to describe what it's like to be a living donor, other than it's blessed my life. And yeah, I love seeing how much it's blessed others too.
I love this. Now, what got you into this path of organ donation? I mean, that's not just your standard thing. A lot of people don't even know that you can be a living donor.
Yes.
So how did you get there?
Well, it actually started at American Elegance the year prior in 21, whenever I competed. And there was another delegate I was having a conversation with and got to know over the course of a few days. And there was at one point in the competition, we were just kind of sitting around waiting for whatever activity we were going to do that afternoon. And she was just in absolute tears and distraught. And I asked her what had happened. And she said that a friend of hers needed a liver transplant. And without even thinking, I said, this had never crossed my mind before either as a living organ donor, but I knew that it was potentially possible. I said, well, if he needs anything, let me know. I know that my blood type, being O positive, I'm compatible with many people. So if he needs anything, please let me know, and I'd be happy to start the donor process. As it turns out, everything worked out for this gentleman, but it planted the seed in my mind about organ donation. And so a few months later, in January of 23 is whenever or 22, excuse me, is whenever I noticed an ad in the Defense News magazine about the Dove Kidney Transplant Organization for Veterans. And so I reached out and had my intake with the CEO, Sharon Kreitzer, and things just snowballed from there. Got the ball rolling with my testing and had my all sorts of appointments. My gosh, I've had more appointments and blood drawn than I can ever imagine, probably for a whole lifetime. And so they really were very thorough at the Mount Sinai Transplant Institute to make sure that I was a viable candidate, and did very good due diligence to ensure that I was healthy, that the recipient would be healthy enough at that point to receive my kidney. And then everything got scheduled. So it was a matter of about 4 months that everything started. And then I had another 4-week waiting period after that when we could get everything scheduled. And that's whenever I donated, had my surgery on May 25th.
Oh my goodness. You are a unique individual. First of all, just from this lady doesn't even probably realize the chain of events she started just by being in a pageant and talking to you.
Right.
But for you to have the heart of, oh, if he needs anything, let me know. And you go back and start putting things in the works. That's huge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know what I was thinking. I just thought, hey, I need to do something. I need to be able to pay it forward. And it was another way for me to continue my military service as a veteran. I was able to provide to another veteran who didn't have that opportunity to receive the care that he needed. And in turn, it impacted another veteran named Kevin, who was mid-20s. And I think Reggie's in his mid-50s or 60s. I can't remember his exact age. But the fact that there was these 2 gentlemen who both needed a life-saving situation, and for somebody to step forward to do that, me and Reggie's wife were those people. And it just, I think it goes to show that really when people ask you to step up, that you can make that choice to do it. You can. It takes a lot, but of course, I'm not saying anybody should just go out and say, I want to donate a kidney. I think that you really need to do your research and education and talk to your family about it, make sure it's the right decision for you. But it's all about just paying it forward and doing something for somebody else and being that person to give to somebody in need, whatever that may look like for you.
I love that. That's amazing. That
Thanks.
oh, I got the chills. I got the chills. And this is a really neat conversation for me because I first started volunteering many moons ago with the National Kidney Foundation of Indiana because of
Mhm.
a friend of mine who actually was at the beginning of her kidney um, diagnosis, and she was going
Mhm.
into renal failure and all the things, and she ended up losing her battle. So just to hear that someone stepped up and changed lives, just it's so heartwarming. It's
Well,
amazing.
it's
So
pretty incredible. Yeah, thank
yeah,
you.
no, go ahead. I mean, that's awesome. And people are like, oh my gosh, that's so awesome.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
it really leads to what we were doing actually in Tanzania, and come to find out that a lot of countries do not do living organ donation at all because of the lack of education or information or cultural boundaries that may prevent that. But we found out in Tanzania specifically that a lot of it is misinformation. They think that you can only live with two kidneys. There's a cultural disbelief that you have to have both of them to live healthy. And so we had a number of people reach out to us and talk to us during our trek up the mountain. And we even had the Tanzanian news come out and ITV come out and do segments on us. And so we were able to reach over 100 million people on in the East African media networks to show what we were doing and to raise awareness out in that specific part of Africa that living organ donation is possible. You can live a very healthy life regardless of one kidney or two. And so it really impacts the world, especially in countries where there isn't that information available like that we have here. And even in America, where we do have the most access to anything we could ever want, there's still that lack of knowledge. And so we're doing so much to raise awareness, and going on these adventures is a big part of that.
I love it. I love it. And you're a great example of, you can donate, you can be a living donor, and you can still be very, very active in life. So
Mhm.
after surgery, after your donation, how long were you down before you were kind of back up to normal activity?
Ooh, I would say um, I was in the hospital for a couple of days, mainly because of the fact that where I had my incisions, I had four laparoscopic, so four teeny tiny incisions on my left side, and then a C-section incision about the size of my fist, where a woman would normally have a C-section, and that's where the kidney was actually removed. And so it wasn't the incisions themselves that hurt. It was the fact that my doctor had to cut through my abdominal wall entirely to remove the kidney. That's what made me super, super sore. And so the recovery period took a couple of weeks total. And so the best thing that I could do was just get up and walk around
Mhm.
the recovery ward with my walker. I mean, I looked like truly an old person walking because I was hobbling, barely able to make it step by step, and it would take me forever to get through and just make one circle around the ward back to my room. And my husband was with me and supporting me. But after I was discharged, I had to use a wheelchair because I was so in so much pain with my abs. I couldn't stand up straight because my stomach was still hurting from the internal recovery. And then my back was hurting because I was trying to support myself forward. I mean, it didn't matter what way I was moving. It was painful all around. Um, but I've also heard that people and I was very much physically active. So people who are more active have a harder time recovering versus those who don't, because we're used to just being on the go all the time. And so I would just walk. That's all I would do was just walk. Well, I'll take that back. I would shuffle. I would shuffle just to
Yeah.
help with the recovery, but that's what the doctors encouraged. And so it took about 2 weeks before I was fully able to walk. I was still slowly walking, but I was at least able to do that.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Oh, we got a great question. Okay. So, what kinds of things could I do to support a donor and recipient in the days after a transplant? I'm only 7.
Oh, that is so sweet.
Great question.
Wow, that is a really great question, and amazing that it's coming from somebody so young who's interested in supporting, the best things that I would do, if this is something that you are inclined to do, is to pray. That is what I would recommend, to pray, send good vibes and good thoughts, and share the story, because a lot of times donors and recipients will probably share their story on social media. So just getting the word out and letting people know that this is a real thing, that organ donation is so important at saving lives. And especially the fact that living organ donors are far more lasting with their organs and their recipients than an angel donor or a deceased donor is. That longevity is really important, which is why it's so important that we like to advocate for living donors if that's something that somebody feels compelled to do. But just really saying, I love what this person is doing, or let's send good thoughts, or a get well card, or something like that, anything like that to support the donor and the recipient is going to be, I know that I love that. Just having people say and wish me personal messages of good thoughts and get wells was super meaningful to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. So we talked a little bit. I know we're going to be kind of all over the place. How can people find out more about being a living donor?
So I went through the organization Dove, which is Donor Outreach for Veterans. You can look through Dove Kidney Transplant. There's a couple of names that I use interchangeably whenever I talk about Dove, but Dove Kidney Transplant for Veterans is one that you can look for. I tag them a lot in a lot of my posts that I have on my Mrs. American Elegance Facebook page. So even if you go to my page, and you can see where a lot of my updates, especially recently with our Kilimanjaro trek, I tagged Dove. So I would encourage people to check out Dove, mainly for the reason because they are specifically helping veterans. And veterans have a lot harder time getting connected with a donor, because the VA system is very specific and can be a little bit more complicated than other hospitals whenever it comes to organ transplant. And so veterans have a much harder time, especially with the healthcare systems that we have, or lack of, whenever it comes to VA benefits. There's just a lot of different areas that play into why veterans aren't necessarily the easiest people to connect organ donation to. But if you check out the Dove website, it will walk you through, and it never hurts to just get information and just to fill out the information form, just to see what it's like to be an organ donor, what would be included. And Sharon is great. She will walk you through the process, and you can ask her all the questions like I did. And if it's for you, then you can keep going with it.
Awesome. Awesome. Oh, we have a special hello I got to put up there.
Hey, Tisha.
That Tisha, she's wild. We have another one too. I'll put this one here. Queen Gwen. Hello, Gwen.
Hi, Gwen.
Awesome. So we talked about you competing at American Elegance in 2022 as well as 2021. Is that your only pageant experience, or had you competed previously?
So crazy enough, I never competed in pageants whenever I was younger. My first one was in 2017, and that's when I competed as Miss Veteran America. And so I advocated for homeless women veterans throughout the year and never thought I was going to win. I had no idea what I was doing. And so this is my first introduction into pageantry, or really anything surrounding pageants at all. And I did win. And so that was my first national title ever, first pageant ever. And that really planted the bug in me to just compete into more pageants. And so over the course of a few years, I started doing some of the local pageants and state pageants, and just had so much fun doing them, and really enjoyed what I was doing, and being able to use that platform to share the message about areas that were important to me. And here I am, Mrs. American Elegance. And so it has just been an amazing, phenomenal opportunity. And I can't wait to see where this leads in the future.
I love it. I love it. I have another question here. What do you enjoy about pageantry?
I would say Of course, the dressing up is always fun. But my favorite part about pageantry is specifically connecting with the women that I'm competing with, because it's always the behind the scenes connections that you make with people. Those friendships, I mean, take Tisha, for example. I didn't even know Tisha until until we met at a pageant system together virtually via COVID, because of COVID, we met virtually. And so it was just an amazing opportunity for us to connect, and just we grew our friendship, and she's just been one of the most amazing supporters. And so it's things like that. It's getting to connect with people and say, this is who I really am. I love to get to know you, and who are you, and grow those friendships.
I love it. Absolutely. Absolutely. So you mentioned that you were a veteran.
Mhm.
What branch of the military were you in, and how long did you serve?
Ooh, Air Force. So I have a special place for Air Force, of course. My husband's Air Force as well.
Okay.
And I served from 2010 to 16. I was security forces, which means I was security police. So guarded the base, the different assets that we had around. And yeah, I was very blessed to be able to serve our country, and to travel around and experience. And I realized that a lot of times God uses these situations and put things in our path for us to utilize for future purposes. And so, of course, in hindsight, I see that now, but you always think, why this opportunity, why this situation? And you realize, okay, it's all for a bigger plan.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for your service. And Kim says thank you for your service as well.
Thank you.
Tisha has led into our next topic. She says that she loves you and your little piggies. So tell us about your piggies.
Yes, the pigs. Oh my goodness. Okay. So I have 3 pot-bellied pigs. And so anybody that knows me, or even if you go to any of my pages and follow me around, I'm an obsessed pig mom. Absolutely obsessed. I can talk about my pigs all day. And my first one was Pearl, which she's my baby girl. She's my best friend. And she is pink and black. So she's got the sweetest little hiney. It's so cute. I just love to give her little skibbity paps on her behind. So cute. And then there's Templeton, and Templeton and Pearl are about the same age. And so we rescued Templeton in, gosh, when was that? 2018, I believe. Pearl was the year before. Tisha, yes, they do yoga. They do pig yoga with us whenever we do that. And so then our other rescue is Oreo, and he is just the sweetest little man, but he is ornery. He's about a year old now, and we rescued him last Christmas, and he's just become a big part of our family, and we're integrating them all together. Yes, real piggies. Yeah, they're pot-belly pigs, and so they are thick with 3 C's, and I love them so much. I am just obsessed with pigs. Yes.
I love them. And I love one of your pageant pictures is it with Pearl?
Mm-hmm. It's
Is
a
that
Pearl. That's Pearl. Yes.
Love that picture. She's all
Yeah.
dolled up, and then there's a pig. So there's another
girl.
cute question from our young queen. She says,
Yes.
how many pairs of shoes do you have?
Oh, more than I can count, but I can tell you how many pairs of shoes I actually wear. My Crocs, because I have 3 different pairs of Crocs. I got my fancy Crocs, my Lisa Frank everyday Crocs, and then my riding Crocs, which is whenever me and my husband go mudding, and I can get those Crocs dirty. So those are my 3 daily wears. Shoes. I just love Crocs.
I love it how we have so many shoes, and then there's tennis shoes. I just flip back and forth all the time. So
pretty much, yeah.
That was cute. That was a cute question. And Tisha says, "Big booty pigs." She's a
they
mess.
are. Yes, she is.
They were so cute, though. They were so cute.
Thank you.
Okay, random question time.
Okay.
What's the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
Gosh, over the years, I've had so many great mentors in life and work. And so I think the biggest one is probably not to let fear derail you from pursuing what you want to do, because if anything was always going to be easy, everybody would do it. And that was kind of the motto that we had over the past couple of weeks was if this mountain was easy to hike, the rest of the world would do it too, but it's not. And so metaphorically, that's applicable to anything that we do in life. And so I've carried that with me, that just, yeah, I'm going to be scared, but I'm not going to let that stop me from pursuing something that is a challenge or the unknown, whatever that may be. Still go after it. You never know what can happen whenever the answer is always going to be no if you don't try something.
Oh, that's good. That's really good. I think that's really good too for people that are considering pageantry and they're like, oh, I don't know. Yeah, why not? Just go.
What's the worst that can happen? You have fun, or you don't place. Who cares? I could care less if any of those things happen. It's about going and having that experience. That's where the memories are the experiences that you have and the connections that you make with people. No one's going to remember the crowns that we wore, the sashes that we have. What people are going to remember are the impact that you made in their life and the conversations that you had.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, okay. Random question again, as we wait for our audience to ask questions. If we came to your house right now, what is one room you would not want us to see?
Currently my bedroom, because it is literally just probably a couple hours ago. I started unpacking, and so there's hiking gear all over the bed. Good Lord, what else do I have all over the floor? Just clothes all over the place. It's a disaster, an unpacking disaster. And thank goodness we had our laundry done before we left Tanzania, because we stunk. It was nasty. We were 8 days without a shower and wearing a few of the same clothes over and over again. That's the part of hiking that it's a reality, but it is what it is. But I'm glad that we got our laundry done before, else it would have been gross.
Oh my word. Oh my word. Oh, yeah. If you could tell your 7-year-old self one thing, what would it be? Great question.
Oh my gosh. How many brilliant little girls do we have in this chat right now?
This is the same one, and she's my sister queen, and she's amazing. I thought she was older than 7, but I'm so glad she's on. She's just she's a firecracker.
She's amazing. Gosh. Ooh, my 7-year-old self. I would tell her, don't worry about what others think, because you spend so much time scrutinizing what others think about you. And honestly, it's none of our business. Just do you, be you. Whatever that is to you, go out and be you, because there's only one version of you, and be the best that you can.
I love that. I love that. All right. Oh, here's another question. What was the best part of the hike?
Oh, wow. Where do we start? The last day. Okay. So summit day was by far the hardest day ever. And so there were several different stopping points along the way. And the base camp that we were at was at 15,000 feet. And it was going to take us about 7 to 8 hours to get to the top of Kilimanjaro. And so we woke up. It was like a power nap that day. We had a half day. We stopped at 1 o'clock where we got to camp, ate lunch, powered through with a nap, and then got up around 10:30 and started getting ready. Left at 11 p.m. and we were sleep deprived. It was pitch black. I mean, minus the full moon and everything. It was below freezing. And we were hiking up this mountain, and we didn't even know, like, we had guides obviously with us, but we were just so physically and mentally exhausted by that point. It was a shuffle. You could start to feel the pressure on your chest and your head from the elevation just increasing. But seeing the sunrise over Tanzania was a phenomenal, breathtaking experience. It's one that I will never, ever forget, just seeing the sunrise over everything in the world. I mean, we were above the clouds. You could see the bend of the earth and the atmosphere because of how high that we were. and then getting to the top of Stella Point, which is the last stop before you get to the top of Kili. It's about a 45-minute walk from Stella Point to the top, but just getting to that top of Stella is just, oh my God, a flood of emotion just came through, because that was by far the most physically demanding part of the entire trek. But being able to make it and then shuffle to the highest point in Africa and the highest freestanding mountain in the world is just, I can't wait for the next experience. I can't wait to do it again. Not necessarily with Kili. I'll never hike Kili again, more than likely, because it's a one and done situation. But just these connections of people along the way, and hearing their stories, and just the funny things that would happen, and the morale that we would build with each other, all of those things really made that whole part of the hike the best part of it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Which is worse, packing for pageant or packing for hiking trips?
Pageant, for sure.
Good question.
It's easy to pack for a hike, because I know I'm only going to have to wear the same clothes for a couple of days. And so you know that it's a very minimalistic type of situation. Packing for a pageant, good Lord, where do we stop? It's like the bags just keep growing. At least I knew for my hike, I had to keep it within a certain amount of weight and items, because the mentality is ounces equal pounds, pounds equal pain. And so you have to remember that whenever you're prepping for your hike. And so with pageantry, though, it's a infinite amount of suitcases and crap everywhere. So it's just, yeah. Pageant packing is by far the worst.
Now, when you compete, I know when I compete, my husband always goes, and Atisha and I were talking about this the other night, and she's like, you know, he came one time, he was in the way, we couldn't do it. Does your husband come with you when you compete? Does he get in the way? What's your vibe with that? How do you guys roll?
Ooh, I love when he comes. I love when he can come. He didn't get a chance to come to AE, but he was super supportive and is always following the live show, or just doing the check-ins, that kind of stuff. And so whenever he can come, he will. And he's an amazing person to have on my side to cheer. And I can hear him in the crowd, and I'm just, maybe for some people it can be embarrassing, but for me, I'm like, yeah, that's my husband. I love him.
That's awesome. And he's so sweet. We did couples yoga with you guys. And
yes.
So sweet. Okay. Tisha has a question. Yeah. She says, what was the scariest part? I don't know if she means about the mountain or the I'm going to guess mountain. I'm going to guess
probably the mountain. I would say the Barranco wall. And the reason being is because you're kind of scaling certain parts of the wall and hugging. They had this one rock called the kissing rock. And it's because you're like literally hugging the rock and trying to move past it, and you're so close that you're literally kissing this rock. It's not a narrow trail necessarily, so don't imagine you're hiking up and it's this teeny tiny trail that you're trying to stay on and you're going to fall off on either side. It is a dangerous part because you could fall, but we weren't using gear to rock climb or anything like that. And so it was just that was probably the scariest part, because you also have the porters who are coming, which these men and women are superhuman. I don't know how, like literally carrying stuff on their head, their necks, their back. The most that they can carry is 45 pounds, but you would think that they are carrying way more, and they're just snapping through these areas and bouncing back and forth off of these rocks. And we're like, how in the world are they doing this? Absolutely amazing. But it was pretty incredible to be able to hike through the Barranco wall. So I encourage people to YouTube it so that you can see exactly what it's like. I wish I had a GoPro, but I don't even think that would have done it justice. But it was intimidating.
Wow. Yeah, I would have to YouTube it because I don't do the heights thing. So
yeah, don't look down whenever you're hiking it. It can be scary.
That would not work. Okay. Another great question. What are some of your favorite cultural experiences from your travels? And did any of them make you want to add part of them to your own family traditions?
Oh, yes, absolutely. So my favorite cultural experiences from this recent trip were the Tanzanian people were just absolutely incredible, hardworking, welcoming people. They were so kind, gentle. They had every meal that we had that they prepared for us was fresh and really made right there. And they took a lot of time to invest whatever it was that they were using to cook to make sure that it was perfect. And it was just the amount of attention to detail that they put in that made me want to do that. And then I also realized our I guess our cultural traditions are just so different from the American way of doing life to the Tanzanian way. And to them, they have the saying pole pole, which is slow. And so I would always remember that. And that's how they are. They're just always Akuna Matata. That was the thing that they would always tell us, Akuna Matata. And we're like, do you guys just go through training and realize that the Americans are just so fast paced that you have to force us to slow down? And they were like, yes, actually we do. And so we were like, oh my gosh, that's fascinating. So just making sure to take that time is something I always want to incorporate into my own family traditions, and just embracing and being in the moment. That's what I love. And I noticed that not just with the Tanzanian people, but all cultures I've ever been to are very much just, let's take our time, just enjoy and embrace the moment.
I love that. I love that. I love that. Okay. She's sharing some info about herself. Her family's Nigerian American, and they love feeding people too and cooking everything fresh.
Yes, yes. It was like that when we went to Djibouti too. I was deployed there. And so we didn't get a chance to experience the fresh cooking and food and everything, but just the Djiboutian people were so, so kind and amazing people. And it just shows you that it doesn't matter wherever you are. I mean, cultures, you can learn from each other wherever you go. And food really was a big center of our connection with the Tanzanian people and just that fellowship. And so I love that food really brings people together.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So when you're not in a crown and you're not raising pigs and you're not scaling mountains, what do you do in your spare time, Lindsay?
Oh gosh, yeah, that's a fantastic question to ask. I love reading true crime, listening to podcasts. My husband and I are usually catching up and watching some programs. So love true crime documentaries, anything like that. So comedy, we're big into comedic performances and stuff. So I like to take my time and step away from social media. I know it's difficult, but I like to just put our phones on silent, just spend time with each other and not have to worry about checking emails or phone calls or anything like that. So we make it a very intentional choice to put our devices away whenever we're hanging out, just to really keep that moment sacred.
I love that. That's so special. How long have you guys been married?
That's a good question. We're not really great with dates. Let me think. Yeah. When we get married, July 24th, 2015.
Okay.
And then we met 2 years before that. We were both stationed in England, so we dated for a couple of years. We were both deployed about the same time together. So at one point we were separated for 9 months together. He was in Italy on a deployment with the rescue squadron. And I was deployed to Djibouti at the time. And so it was, that really tested our relationship to see if we could make it together. And then we realized, we made it, both in separate countries under less than ideal circumstances with internet connection. And it worked out. So, that's cool, Tisha. How about that?
Happy birthday. So cute. So cute. Okay, you mentioned you love reading. What is your favorite children's book?
Ooh, do you remember those books? If you give a mouse a cookie, mine is, I think it's If You Give a Pig a Pancake. I think that's what the name of it was called, because it's pig. And so I love pigs. And so I remember I actually cooked a pancake a couple years ago whenever we first got Pearl. And I wanted to see if Pearl likes any food. But yeah, pigs do love pancakes, in fact.
Interesting. I would have never thought that.
Yes.
That is too cute. Too cute. I'm trying to make sure I haven't missed any questions. I think I'm
Yeah.
good. Okay, perfect.
We got some good questions
Perfect.
coming in. I love these.
We have a good crowd tonight. I'm
Yeah,
loving this.
we do. I
I'm
love
loving it.
this.
If you could instantly be an expert in anything, what would it be and why?
Um, I guess understanding what men say whenever they try to.
Say no more.
I reading my husband's mind, I guess, is probably for
You could make
anybody out there.
millions.
Yeah, for anybody out there that has a partner, a spouse, you know exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Man or woman, it doesn't matter. Just trying to read and understand the other's mind, and just like, you're my best friend, but I don't understand what you're trying to tell me right now. I need you to use your words.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so interesting. So interesting.
Yes.
That's funny. Okay. So when you rescued your pigs, were they already named or did you name them?
So Pearl was not named. I actually got her on Mother's Day of 2017. And so I kind of already had an idea of what I wanted to name my pig whenever I got my pig, whenever that would be. And it just so happened to be Mother's Day. And so she was just fitting for a pearl, and she looked like a pearl. And now she looks like a pearl for sure. She's just sassy. Templeton was already named, and Oreo as well. So we just kept their names because it was just easier for them to adjust, and they already knew their names. And so we kept them as is. And I'm glad that we did, because they both look like a Templeton and Oreo. I don't know how you know that, but they just do. Their personalities just fit perfectly with their names.
That's so awesome. So, as a person that has a very teeny tiny puppy, what do you feed pigs? Like what's their normal diet?
So, shameless plug for me to go ahead and educate people about potbelly pigs. There is no such thing as a mini pig. Anything under 300 pounds is considered quote unquote mini. And that's just because they are smaller than your traditional farm hog. And so if anybody tries to say that there's such thing as a mini pig, they are absolute liars. And so do not believe and don't feed into the greedy breeders, because there's so many loving pigs out there that need a rescue home. So I always encourage rescuing if you can. And all three of ours are rescued. So when we first got them, it was a learning experience about what to feed them. But we realized that they do have specific mini pig feed pellets. And so you don't want to feed them the farm hog pellets, because that's intended to fatten them up for butchering. And potbelly pigs are not, that's not what they're intended for. And so there are cultures that do eat them though, and that's the reality of what it is. But for those of us that have them as pets, they have specific pellets. And so they all get a cup in the morning and then a cup of the pellets in the evening for dinner. And in between, they go outside and they root and they eat their grass. They have a specific area in the backyard that they go. They like fruits and vegetables. They're just like any other kids that maybe have some quirks about them, that they don't like certain things. So I think it's Pearl who doesn't like, or no, Templeton doesn't like cucumbers. I don't know. And then Pearl doesn't like something, and I can't remember what it is, a potato, maybe an onion. I can't remember. But we always, it'll come back to us whenever we try to feed them. We're like, oh yeah, this one, I forgot she doesn't like this, or he doesn't like that. So it's just kind of learning their different personalities and what they want.
It's so cute. So cute. Where do you adopt a pig? Just random question.
Yeah, so we got Pearl. We adopted her from a farmer at a farmer's market, because he had two, Pearl and then her brother, and her brother was already adopted out. And so we're like, well, obviously we need to take her, because who else is going to? We don't want her in the wrong hands. And so we rescued her from that gentleman. And then it was the Panhandle Humane Society in Florida that we found Templeton, because he was needing a home. And then it just so happened that a family that lived in this neighborhood that we're in now, they were relocating, I want to say either overseas or to a totally different state. I'm not quite sure where, but they weren't able to take Oreo. And so they were trying to find somebody to rescue him. And I was kind of pet sitting for him at the time and found that out. And so that's whenever we decided to rescue him on Christmas Day. So he was our little Christmas baby.
Oh, that's so cute. So cute.
Thanks.
Okay. Tisha says, have Pearl and Templeton gotten used to their new outside house yet?
They're currently outside whining, as they do, because they throw tantrums. And so they're getting more and more used to it. So we still have some work that we're doing with the outside structure. They have a nice barn that's heated and air conditioned, and they have their stalls that they can hang out in. But because it's pigs, we have to still get them used to being out to where they are, because Pearl and Templeton live here inside the house. They have their own room, but Oreo was raised outside since he was a little piglet. And so he's used to being outside, and he loves it. We tried to bring him inside to be an inside pig. He didn't want to do it. He threw a fit and would just stand at the door and scream. So he stays outside, but he has a nice home outside. It's Pearl and Templeton that are spoiled, and we're trying to get them used to being more outside pigs now.
Oh my gosh. I couldn't imagine. I couldn't even imagine. So cute. Okay. So if you had to compete in a pageant that required a talent portion, what would your talent be?
Oh, this is funny. So actually, when I competed in Miss Veteran America, we did have a talent portion. I don't really have a talent. So I dressed up as a Cupid and I did the Cupid shuffle. And
that's cool. And you won.
I did win. It's like, what am I look like a fool, but you know what? It was so much fun and people enjoyed it. The crowd loved it. And I actually got one of the top 10 for talent. And so it's like, really, I did.
God.
This is
that's awesome. I think that's awesome.
I was just myself, I was just being me. And I was like, I'm not going to try to be fake. I cannot sing. I can't dance. What do I have? I can do the Cupid shuffle and look foolish. And you know what? It is what it is. So
I love it. Oh, viewer question. Who runs the house, the dogs or the pigs?
The pigs, for sure.
No, you have dogs too?
Mm-hmm. We do. We have a border collie and a lab mix, Princess and Violet. And so they're the sweetest girls. Everybody really gets along in the house, but Pearl is the alpha by far. She's the alpha pig. Violet is the alpha dog, but then when it comes to both of them, it seems like Violet's the fun police. And so she doesn't like when everybody has fun in the house. I don't know what her deal is, but she's a border collie. So that's her job, is to kind of regulate and make sure that everybody's in line. But then Pearl just kind of will go around and honk and do her thing and just wiggle her sassy little behind around and gets what she wants. So
that's so funny. So funny. So we didn't even talk about this, but you're Mrs. American Elegance. If someone is looking to compete in American Elegance, how would they even get into that?
Oh, I encourage people, if you're ever considering a pageant, even if this is your first one, check out American Elegance, because it truly is embracing who you are right now. And American Elegance we're currently looking for amazing delegates. And so I encourage you to go to the American Elegance Facebook page, the website. You can complete the application for whatever category you are looking to compete in. Feel free to ask me any questions. If you have any questions, you're welcome to reach out to me on my Facebook page as well. And I can I'd be happy to share my experience with you. And obviously I have a great experience. I competed twice and learned a lot with both systems, or with the system both times. And so we definitely want women who are true to themselves and as you are to compete, because we have all shapes, all sizes, all ages, demographics, you name it. We have everyone represented, and we'd love to see you represented as well.
I love that. I love that so much. So how can people follow? What's next for you? What's going on next in your world?
Oh gosh. Okay. So at the end of this month, I'm actually going to Colorado for a veterans winter sports clinic. So adaptive sports clinic. So I'll be going and having some fun with some other veterans. Um, it's a pretty cool experience because it's specifically for veterans who have been involved in certain circumstances. For me, my qualifier was a TBI, a traumatic brain injury that I received. It was thankfully a minor one, but it was still a TBI that I sustained whenever I was deployed. And so the VA does a lot to help with veterans who have experienced loss of limb or adaptive situations in their life. And so that's what I'm going to be doing at the end of this month. And then in a couple of weeks after that, I am actually going to be relocating to Maryland for a new job that I have been offered. And so got a lot of changes coming up here in the next couple of months, but we have a lot that we're going to be doing with American Elegance with our Purposely Pink Luncheon. And then, of course, with the National Pageant in November, we have the Princess Pageant. So a lot of things personal and pageant related going on over the next year.
Wow. Wow. So I have to ask, are you going to compete in another system?
Yes, eventually.
You're not going to be like the rest of us that retire and we just keep going.
Yeah, no, I love competing. And I think it's gonna after I crown my successor in November, I'll probably take a little bit of time off because I am starting this new job just to get more understanding of the work schedule and all of those things that come with relocating and starting a new chapter in life there. But I'm absolutely looking to compete in another system. So once I take some time off and get back into it, though, I'm excited for it.
It's awesome. That is awesome. Oh, our little miss wants to know, what is your go-to comfort food?
Oh my gosh, go to comfort food, chocolate by far, chocolate. Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
I think
also
I can
comes with the
agree.
calories, so that's the downside.
You're pretty busy. I don't even think the calories count for
Yeah.
you. So we're not even going there. Okay. Got all of our questions. What is anything else you want to share with us or you want us to know or how to follow you before we do our on-stage question?
Yeah, I would love to have you follow my journey along with American Elegance. You can always follow my page at Mrs. American Elegance 2223. You can find me there on Facebook, on Instagram. I'm at Linds_Gutierrez. So you can check out my journey there as well. But I really encourage people to also follow some of the pages with our organ donation team, which is Living Donor Adventures. I've recently tagged them as well. Same with Dove. Yeah, I have a few that I really encourage people just to check out to support them because it's a really incredible way to keep active in the different communities that we're in. And the more people that are there to support, even if you're just there to like or share whatever that is, we love having you a part of our group.
It's awesome. So awesome. Thank you so much for being on tonight. We're not done. We're going to do your on-stage question, but
Thank
I
you.
have to
All
thank you
right.
again.
Yeah.
Okay. On-stage question. Are you
Okay.
ready?
I'm ready.
It's the Super Bowl. You just scored the winning touchdown. What does your victory dance look like?
Okay, so I'm like if I had to get up and okay, here, I'll just show you. So if I had to do a victory dance, this is gonna be so embarrassing. I'd probably be like, hey, 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 like a
I love it. I
like a
told you.
mini twerk, which is probably not appropriate, but it's something along those lines. And then a raise the roof because I'm old. So the Cupid shuffle, that's perfect, Tisha. Yes,
I
combination of
love
all of
it.
them.
I
Yeah,
love
whatever
it.
comes out, that's what it is.
I would like throw the ball out hard and do the arms and my
Yeah.
knees.
Maybe the Running Man, I don't know, some MC Hammer, whatever comes out, it is what it is. I just start
I
making
love
up
it.
moves as I go.
I love it. I love it. Queen Lindsay, thank you so, so much for being on tonight and sharing your story. Everyone loved you. Everybody, please follow her journey. There's so much more to come from her. As you can see, we'll never know where she'll be, on the top of a mountain or out doing something amazing. So please follow her. Never dull your shine because someone else can't handle your sparkle. And next week, I have on another amazing guest. So make sure you tune in 7 o'clock Eastern. And until next week, we'll see y'all later. Good night.